Emma's Universe podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Emma's Universe podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Emma's Universe podcast.
Hello, welcome to Emma's podcast. It is Friday. Yippee I was just watching something on TikTok that came across. I'm like, holy crap, this is exactly what I started to talk about. People will only change if they want to change. You cannot change them. And that's what it comes down at the end of the day. I've seen it too often, and I see it in a pattern of my sister when I was younger, the older one, who really wanted to take the broken case and change their life for the better. Oh my God, he's a bad guy. We're going to make it a good guy. And I'm like, oh boy, you put your hand in your head. It's like, yeah, leave it alone. And they end up in drama. Why? Because a person will never change if they do not want to change. And I'm just listening to something on TikTok saying exactly the same thing. At a young age, I never felt the need to change people. I have no interest on changing people. And like I said to people who come across on my path, it is up to you to change. It's not for me. I'm not here to save you. The only person that can save you is yourself. And it's the truth. When you start to focus on yourself, start to put yourself first and see how to heal, how to change the pattern that you now identify to stop them, and to now improve it. Now, it's not somebody who's going to tell you, because some people will have a view of things that you do that they don't like because it's not their way. So you have to be cautious on your patterns, but we all have our own patterns. And it's nice to identify those patterns and modify them to improve our life. If that brings something positive to our lives, then that's a great way to do it. But if it's only to try to help others because they're telling you something, after a while you're gonna feel your spirit dying because it's like suffocating. That happened a few times when I have felt more suffocated than I felt more myself. And you can pretend to be something you're not. That's up to you to play that game. But at the end of the day, your nature will always show up. However, what they say and what this lady said was so true. The way people treat you is the way they see you. So let's say you're in a relationship with somebody who never, and that happens to me in the past. Okay, so I will speak per experience on some of it as well, who maybe you have planned to meet with them, and the person will not call you, will not, or cancel on you, not reschedule or anything like that, or basically you showed up somewhere and they're not even there at all, and when you call them on that, they don't even react a good way. Then you need to realize, one, you're not as important and you think they are to you, and they're going to continue to disrespect you. So this is when I think the hardest part for some people to realize is that, do you want to take this quote unquote abuse, or do you want to set up the boundaries and not accepting this, meaning, you know what, if it happened once, it's going to happen at all time because you have shown no respect to me, and you will continue to do that until the end of time. So you can stay there and have to deal with that and be disappointed, or you can walk away and don't have to deal with it. I can explain the narcissist part of it as well from that individual because at the time of some of the stuff, which was birthdays or Thanksgiving or whatever the thing was, there were always something happening. Always. Something was happening, and not in a positive way. And he always self-sabotaged everything. And I watched it. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. What's going to happen next? And I watched the pattern. And I'm like, you know what, dude? Have a nice day, because this is not how I'm going to do and live my life. I don't need this chaos. Again, when people likes to create chaos, or it's up to you to decide. Do I really want to suffer an air and be mad at it and feel like a useless piece of crapola? Or do I want my dignity and just say, no, I'm setting up my boundaries? And that's where you set up your boundaries and said, you know what? Go play this game with somebody else's, because I have no time for that. One of the biggest things, that's why I talk about it, to be self-reliant and living alone, is that when you spend time on your own and somebody doesn't treat you well, you don't have to take it. You walk away. When people are accustomed to live, like I explained a week ago or 2 weeks ago, when you're looking at life and you're thinking, well, I went from my family where we had some drama, then I went to the roommates where we got some drama, and we're used to it, and we're used to that pattern, blah, 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 and I go to a relationship that doesn't turn well, but I'm going to continue to get that abuse, quote unquote, the way I'm being treated. Well, that's on you at the end of the day if you don't recognize the pattern. When you know the pattern is theirs, you don't have to feel the codependency, because this is a vicious circle as well. Some people think that if I treat somebody else like a piece of crap, they're going to be dependent on me. And it's like, no, I'm not, because I have no interest on that. There will be somebody else's that maybe needs to learn their life lessons and stand up for their own self, and I have to do it myself. You don't have to continue this way. You're going to say, well, but Emma, I'm married with a person for the past 10 years, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to do that. I don't want to restart from scratch. Well, that's your call. It's your monkey. It's your circus. But now that you're aware of it, if you don't do anything, it's on you. If you do something, it's on you as well. Sometimes you're going to have to restart from scratch. This is what happened in life. Maybe your entire condo is going to burn down and you're going to have to restart everything from scratch. You're going to turn your life around to get to different directions. That's life. That's sometimes what we got to do in order to move on in our lives. But you have to be honest with your own self. Is the way people treat you, if you allow them to do that, then that's on you. I don't allow anyone to treat me the way I have been in a relationship that have not been treated very well. I walked away. And some of them took a lot of strength to do that. But I'd rather walk away, learn from it, and set my boundaries. I set my boundaries in relationship that was funny, and I talked about it. I think I did. Where the person, when I did not at the beginning, be kind, be nice, kind. I don't need to be the old witcher on the block at all. But you come to a point, kindness is not stupidity. That's what people made a mistake when you look at people who are kind. Some are naive. Naivete is one thing. But I'm not naive. I've been around the freaking block. And trust me, my story, one day I'm going to tell my full story. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be like the Falcon Crest, Dallas, Days of Our Lives, all in one. That would be very, very fun to do. But you have to realize that, being nice, being kind is not, want to be helpful, want to help is one thing. If I feel like helping, not coming in, I need it. No. It's when it's needed. But some individuals are dumb enough to think, well, if I can do this, I'm going to take advantage of that person. And you're like, you do it once or twice, and the third time, it's going to be a no. And you set your boundaries up, and then you become the devil. Oh, you're mean. Oh, you have changed. No, I did not change. I set up my boundaries. I set the boundaries so you're not going to have access to me as you think I'm available at any given time. I'm being kind, I'm being nice, but I am not dumb. So you set your boundaries, and you're going to see people who are going to be unhappy. People who maybe used to come to your house and take advantage of, like, they will go like they're shopping in your house, literally. And it happens to me. I had somebody that I was friends with, and she used to come to my place and she would leave with a bunch of my stuff. And, like, really, and every single time. And I watch her, I'm like, okay, I'm going to be nice to you, but now it's no more nice. We're done. This is not a free supermarket here, or it's not a store here. We are not at World TT, we're not at Target. No, we're not Dayton's or Nordstrom's. You're not picking up from the racks here. But this is what you have to understand. Set your boundaries. People, when they treat you bad from the get-go, are not going to treat you nicely. And it doesn't matter if you end up in an argument with them, because if they really want to continue, they will continue to treat you like crap, yes. Or maybe they're going to be nice for 5 minutes and they're going to go back to the old pattern because they do not respect you. A person will only change if they really want to change. And it could be a drug addict, it could be an alcoholic, it could be a cheater, it could be a liar, it can be anyone. If they don't want to change, they will never do it for you. So you have to understand that. And a lot of people don't understand, or they come with the idea, I'm going to save that person. And I'm like, oh, I saw my sister a few times and I'm like, yeah. And one time she, from what I heard, almost didn't make it, basically, because the guy beat the crap out of her, which was like, what the freak? And lucky that I was not in the same country than where she was at that time, because it would have probably been floating somewhere. But seriously, it's like, you're not here. What is your intent with this individual? What makes you keep that individual around you? If that individual is an alcoholic and a violent person, but maybe he has money and you're interested of his money, then you live with the consequences of your intention. Now, if you're meeting people that don't respect you, and oh, well, I don't want to be by myself, so I'm going to stick around with those people, then that's on you. You have to understand you're responsible for it. You have to set your boundaries. I have experienced somebody last year that basically walked all over my face, and I push until I decide, I'm like, okay, I'm done. I blocked. I literally blocked that person. And she did not like it. She was mad. And I said, I don't care. You do not walk all over my face. When somebody's telling you something like, I don't need you to connect with me call me or text me at 5 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't need you to fill out the blank. And you're not listening, then this is where you need to take action to stop everything. Because that means that person doesn't respect you and doesn't listen what you got to say. That's enough. Putting your foot down. So you need to understand that people will only change if they want to change. And that's, like I said, this is one of the hardest things that most people don't understand. And, it's not funny to be where we are. There is days it's not that funny, but you need to understand where you stand and where people are standing. And you need to be honest with your own self. If you want your life being full of chaos, bring and open the door to everybody. If you want a life of quality, start to do the cleanup in your personal life and professional life as well. If you're in an environment at work that is not worthy for you, that brings you more stress. And I've been in an environment that the closer I was driving, the more sick I felt. And when I was leaving in the afternoon, the further I was from that place, the better I felt. Isn't it amazing? This is when you realize that your body is telling you something. If you're around somebody, then you don't have a good feeling about it, don't hang around with it. It doesn't matter if that person is allegedly popular or not, walk away. You have to set your boundaries. You have to decide what you want in your life. But at the end of the day, the people in your life is you allowing them to be in your life. I have done a huge cleanup, even last year, on the people that I didn't want it in my life at all. And I didn't make a grand exit. I made a quiet exit like I normally do. You see me, then now you don't see me anymore and you don't even realize I'm gone. Unless several months after and then too late. Baby cakes. Block. I do not exist to those individuals. You don't give access to people who are not for your highest good. You learn from your experiences, but you have to really set your boundaries. And that's one of the biggest things that people don't do. Setting up their boundaries because they're afraid. When you're self-reliant, self-independent, you don't have a problem to cut everybody around you. When you are codependent, that becomes a problem. And the people who are codependent should learn to set their boundaries, even with their mates, even with their children's, with their family. Set your boundaries. When you set your boundaries, peace comes in your life. That to me is worth everything. Having a peaceful life gives you not only peace, but your immune system is doing very well, your stress level is extremely low, and you're enjoying life to the fullest. Do things that you love to do, but remember, the people that treat you wrong will continue to do so unless they decide on their own to change. You can tell them anything you want. It doesn't mean they're going to change. And if they do it, they will do it for 5 minutes. And trust me, I've seen it firsthand. And I even gave them 3 months, actually. I always give them 3 months, but I know within a month, month and a half, it's going way back down, which is fun to watch, actually. It's always fun to watch. So it was very interesting to listen to this on TikTok very briefly and really share the message, because I feel it's important for people to stand their own ground, their own boundaries, but also really looking at people. How do they treat you in your life? And it can be brothers, sisters, mom, dad, it can be anybody. And maybe you need to cut the cords with your family. Some people are like, but, and it's like, that's your choice. Cutting your cords with your family, there is nothing wrong with that. It's part of who we are. It's part of our journey, you know. I don't invite drama and chaos in my life. I don't want that anymore in my life. I am done with this shit show. Seriously, there is no point. I don't like chaos. I like the organized chaos. Like I always said, it's 80% work. At work, it's 80% a plan, 20% unplanned. Most of the time when people love chaos, it's 20% plan and 80% chaos. Not my monkey, not my circus. I pass. I don't have time for that. I don't have the energy. I rather focus and put my energy on something that is more constructive, interesting, and that brings more in our lives than spreading my wings thin for people who have no respects. I don't have time for the chaos. I don't have the time for people who, you know, they don't show up when they're supposed to be showing up. I am not dependent of others, and I'm thank God I am not, because in many occasions I have seen it in their patterns, and I identify the patterns, and I relate on myself to do things that most people could not even do, and have the audacity to some people who never showed up when they saw what I did. Well, you could have called and said, well, I did, but you never showed up, so off you go. So I don't have time for that. I don't have time for a lot of things like that. And you have to respect yourself first. Allowing those people in your life is first you disrespect yourself. And this is not something you want. You want to respect your own self first. You don't need the chaos. You just need for you to respect yourself. And when you start to respect yourself, then you can do your cleanup. Because peace of mind is more important than the chaos and the disrespect of others. So, have a beautiful weekend. All my love, guys, and we'll talk to you later. Bye now.
Where do we go from here?
Emma's Universe Podcast.